The stories you are about to see are real. The rewards up to $5 million are real. This is Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous, the criminals don't. Crime Stoppers would like to show our appreciation to Corner Lot Towing for helping stop crime in the Middle Georgia region.
Richmond County Sheriff's deputies need your help finding the older white male you see on your screen. He appears to have shoplifted a gas-powered generator from the Tractor Supply store in Martinez. Investigators say the white male you see on your screen entered the store on September 5th, took the generator out of its box, and left the store without rendering proper payment. This white male suspect is medium in height and weight with a receding hairline. He was last seen wearing a red shirt, khaki shorts, and white shoes. If you know who or where this older, balding, white male may be, please call investigator Bert Gates at 706-821-1059. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS or text your tips to tips at AugustaCrimeStoppers.org or 803-441-8744, where you remain anonymous and keep your stuff. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office needs your help finding burglars who made off with several stolen items and a lady's peace of mind. According to an incident report, the lady called the Richmond County Sheriff's Office about 2 a.m. Saturday to report the burglary at the 400 block of East Boundary Street. When police arrived, the 28-year-old victim reported that between 11 p.m. Friday and 1:30 a.m., someone burglarized her home, stealing various electronics and other things. Deputies noted that the house was tossed and the back door was left unlocked. It appears the burglars made entry in the kitchen by breaking the window locks. Deputies were able to lift blatant prints off of the inside of the window frame. Dusting for prints can be done with inexpensive kits. Theft is so prevalent it may pay you to buy one. Not sure if the police will process the prints if they don't lift them themselves. Something to look into to keep your stuff from disappearing. Shame it has come to this, but we may have to start fingerprinting guests and employees and such. Then, if something disappears, lift the prints yourself and compare them yourself. If you know who or where these burglars may be, please call the Richmond County Sheriff's Office, Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS, or text your tips to 803-441-8744, where you remain anonymous and keep burglars out of your bedrooms. Richmond County Sheriff's deputies say an Augusta pawn shop was burglarized this weekend with at least 2 handguns and 6 long guns, along with jewelry, being stolen. A lawn care guy noticed a broken window at Hitchcock's Jewelry and Pawn at 3240 Peach Orchard Road. A Richmond County Sheriff's Office report states the burglar bars in the windows had been bent to one side, which may have been done using a chain tied to a vehicle. When one of the employees that worked at the pawn shop arrived, he said he had left the business about 4 p.m. Saturday and set the alarm. A security dog was supposed to be inside but is now missing and is feared to be stolen or dead. The employee told deputies that the jewelry and firearms were missing from display cases and about $400 was missing from a register. Hey, let's leave a bunch of guns in display cases. What could go wrong? The camera system recorder was missing from a back room. If you know who or where these burglars may be, please call the Richmond County Sheriff's Office, Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS, or text your tips to 803-441-8744, where you remain anonymous and keep keep your stuff. The Atlanta Police Department is hoping to find new leads in a cold case murder. The victim lived in Columbia, South Carolina, and visited Augusta quite often as he drove through. Gregory Smith, 47 years of age, was shot to death on August 7th in his vehicle. Police say Smith was found at the intersection of El Paso Drive and Santa Fe Trail in southwest Atlanta. Smith's body was discovered shortly after midnight. According to police, Smith lived in Columbia, South Carolina, and had just arrived in Atlanta with his wife, Donna Smith, hours before he was shot to death. Smith was born and raised in the Ben Hill neighborhood and was visiting his mother when the shooting took place. Police, as well as family members, gathered on Tuesday at the same intersection where Smith's body was found to bring attention to the case. Smith was a husband, father, son, and brother. He had been married to his wife for 20 years with 2 children. Police are now offering a $2,000 reward. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 404-577-8477 or 800-222-TIPS or text your tips to 803-441-8744. The family hopes someone will come forward to give Smith justice, and we do too. Richmond County Sheriff's deputies need your help finding this black male you see on your screen. He's wanted for questioning in connection with several car break-ins in the CSRA. 39-year-old Cameron Rogers is suspected of committing 7 counts of entering an automobile and suspected of committing 3 counts of second-degree burglary. Cameron Rogers also has an outstanding felony warrant from Camden County, New Jersey for robbery and other charges. Deputies said Rogers also uses the aliases of Cameron Wright, Cameron L., Rashid Berrien, Roger Cameron, Jamal Garnes, Jamal Jones, Jamal Mack, Camaro Wright, and Cameron Rogers. Because of his affinity for Muslim names, he may seek refuge with other locals who also use their Muslim name instead of the one they were born with. Deputies report Rogers has ties to people in the 3900 block of Kitchens Road and was last located in the area of Ulm Road, New Carline Road, and Deans Bridge Road. Rogers listed 2359 Plantation Road as his address with the Augusta Probation Office. If you know how or where to find Cameron Rogers, please call the Richmond County Sheriff's Office Senior Investigator Aaron Hans at 706-821-1024. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS or text your tips to 803-441-8744, where you remain anonymous and unrobbed. Richmond County Sheriff's investigators need your help finding 2 unknown black males accused of robbing and pistol whipping an Augusta male at his home. Deputies report that about 3:30 a.m. Saturday, they were called to the 1700 block of Slayton Street where a 29-year-old victim says he was pistol whipped and robbed of $9,600. The victim said he was asleep when 2 black males, both wearing black masks and black pants, broke into his bedroom with handguns and demanded cash. When he refused, one of the suspects began pistol whipping him on the left cheek, indicating that home invader is right-handed. The report goes on to say that the suspects found $600 in his dresser and $9,000 in a hallway closet, then fled on foot with the cash in an unknown direction. While investigating the scene, deputies found that the home invaders had dropped $1,000 in cash in the victim's yard. If you know who or where these 5'5" and 5'7", 150-pound and 200-pound black males, armed and dangerous home invaders may be, please call the Richmond County Sheriff's Office Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS or text your tips to 803-441-8744, where you remain anonymous and unpistol whipped.
And now, this Crime Reports and Rewards special report.
In 2003, then 18-year-old Devin Moore gained national attention for blaming his shootings of 3 police officers in Alabama on Rockstar Games' Grand Theft Auto 3. In representing the families of the deceased in a civil suit, anti-violent game activist Jack Thompson said, "The game industry has targeted, with the most popular and violent game in history, every police officer in America and put a bullseye on their back." Reminiscent of Thompson's sentiments, a recent report on the nationwide increase in police shootings by Time mentions violent video games as a theorized contributing factor. Police officer shooting deaths are up nearly 60% year over year, according to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund. According to Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman, law enforcement trainer and author of On Combat and On Killing, there is a strong correlation between games and police shootings. Every time they take down a gang house, there's always one thing that will always be there, he said in the article. It's a video game. The video games are their newspaper, their television, their all-consuming narrative. And their video games are all cop-killer criminal simulators. The article addresses several other potential correlates to the rise in cop killings this year. These include an increase in military-grade weapons on the street, a recent trend in gang initiations that target officers, and the fact that police officers, on average, miss their targets 70 to 90% of the time while firing in the line of duty. One Richmond County Sheriff's deputy that we have a memorial on the gates of the Riverfront Marina for, so his end-of-watch badge will always see the sunset and beautiful scenery, is Deputy Paul, who had just gotten off duty and was driving his department motor unit home when he observed a vehicle on the side of the highway. Possibly believing it was disabled, he started to stop his motorcycle behind it. Before he was able to put his kickstand down, a male occupant of the vehicle opened fire with an M4 rifle. Deputy Paul returned fire 3 times, wounding the subject in the arm before his service weapon was struck by a round and disabled. The subject fired over 30 rounds at Deputy Paul, striking him at least 9 times. The man then committed suicide before responding units arrived at the scene. Now there's a nationwide manhunt for yet another cop killer. His name is Matthew Freen. He shot and killed 1 Pennsylvania highway patrolman and wounded another in their training barracks. When Freen's Jeep was found, he had instructions on how to travel and get into other countries. We think he should be passing several locations or airports and could even be here. Or someone could see him here and travel to his location there. By canvassing the entire world through Crime Stoppers, we will have eyes all over, including here. There is one other cop killer doing well in Cuba, even with a $2 million reward on her head. He may be headed to hang out there with her, which would bring him our way. If you know how or where this cop killer may be found, please call the police. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS or text your tips to 803-441-8744, where you remain anonymous and your cops unmurdered.
In the wake of the ubiquitous coverage of a coward woman beating a professional football player, there's a woman by the name of Shaneen Allen being ignored. A single-parent mother of 2, Shaneen Allen decided to get a license to carry a gun in her state of Pennsylvania after being robbed twice last year. Shaneen made the honest mistake of crossing into New Jersey, and unbeknownst to her, and in typical anti-gun zealotry fashion, New Jersey didn't recognize her permit to carry a gun. After being stopped for a minor traffic offense, she told the police about her gun and her permit, thinking she was doing the right thing. As a result, she now faces 3 years in jail on a felony offense. So, what the hell does Shaneen Allen's case have to do with Ray Rice and his flying fist of fury? Well, see, here's the thing. After Hulk smashing his then fiancée unconscious, Mr. Rice's prosecutor, Jim McClain, allowed Rice to avoid jail time by approving him for a pretrial intervention program. As a first-time offender, this program allows you to make the case for how great a person you are and that the chance of recidivism is extremely low. Here's where it gets interesting. Jim McClain, the prosecutor in Rice's case, is the same prosecutor on Shaneen Allen's case. Allen also applied for the same pretrial intervention program as Ray Rice. But because carrying a gun for protection as a single-parent mother is somehow worse than a man beat it out of his fiancée, the prosecutor denied Shaneen Allen from the program and instead offered her a plea deal of 3 years in jail. What makes this worse is that you have some anti-gun activists like Brian Miller boasting that making an example out of Shaneen Allen somehow makes New Jersey a safer place from gun violence. What kind of perverted political dogma could possibly justify throwing a single-parent mother of 2 in jail for an honest mistake that hurt no one, but then turn around and let a man who beat his fiancée so bad he couldn't lift her limp body out of the elevator back out on the street? This is disgusting. This woman was robbed twice on her way to work in order to provide for her kids, and you want to turn this woman into a felon for trying to protect herself? What do you think is going to happen to these kids when they have to live without their mother for the next 3 years and then possibly have to live in poverty because mama can't find a job because she's now a felon? Thank you, New Jersey, Jim McClain, and all anti-gunners around the world for perpetuating the very cycle that contributes to the violence in this country. All the while providing an example to young men that it's okay to beat women, as long as you can throw a football, of course. So is this what the anti-gun utopia looks like? A bunch of confusing, inarticulate gun laws, turning more good people into criminals than actually catching criminals? Ironically, a real criminal would have lied to the cop about having a gun or said nothing and then moseyed on into New Jersey and no one would be none the wiser. You people are a bunch of hypocrites. Political opportunists masking your desire for control and power with feigned concern for people's safety. Then you have these sophomore anti-gun groups like Moms Demand Action, too busy worried about open carriers in Kroger and Target when the very person you all claim you're trying to protect, a mother of 2 kids, is faced with 3 years in jail for trying to protect herself, but isn't afforded the same second chance that some knuckle-dragging hothead who tiger uppercuts his fiancée into a momentary coma is given. Welcome to Anti-Gun Utopia.
Are corrupt public servants getting cops killed? Are government employee violations of our own laws skirting due process publicly endangering our police as they try to go about their duties? Are recent cop killings actually caused by government officials who are creating a hazardous work environment? A recent Canadian government warning about American public service corruption indicates legal experts have caught on to public service lawlessness, and now murderers may be killing our cops because of it. Let's start with recent attacks we've seen against ownership in the United States, more specifically the way some public servants are exercising more and more power over you. Will Harrisburgers be forced to leave because an environmental activist says vegetable oil flushed out of their drains into the river? Don't laugh yet. Cronyism has a long history of denying people the right to own property. In fact, the Soviet Union removed farmers from their land and forced them into stacked apartment complexes in the name of preserving the environment. With so much public service corruption and crony conspiracies to steal other people's things using their public service conspirators, it's a wonder free enterprise can squeak out any jobs at all. Would you invest your life into something that a public servant just takes away because they can? One murderer hollered, "This is the start of the revolution," as he double-tapped a couple of brave officers who were just trying to enjoy their pizza. Listen, revolutionaries, those who are breaking our own laws of the land are the bad guys, not anyone else. Government is not the problem, only certain rare public servants. You say rare, we thought all public servants were corrupt. Not all public servants have to be corrupt, only a few, and the others fall in line. This is the problem. They follow the herd, not realizing their leader may be corrupt. How can they be breaking the law by obeying their boss? We saw in the Nuremberg trials that those who were only obeying their bosses hanged with the bosses. We don't want that to happen. When local Leo J.D. Paul pulled up to help a stranded motorist, he had no idea the hatred that would spray hot lead at him. J.D. Paul's killer took his pent-up frustrations out on J.D. by machine gunning him to death because he saw him as the enemy. Public servants need to return to due process so those who have contact with the public don't pay for their sins. Not as much here in Augusta, although it is very real here. Let's say Hilton Head or any one of our border and coastal towns, or any of the other no-constitution zones being expanded by public servants and their cronies. They're seizing almost anything they want from citizens without due process. If a road patrol officer tried this, they would go to jail, but not some of their fellow public servants. Because cash-starved communities share in the filthy lucre of dreamed-up fines and seizure of other people's properties, most look the other way. And that's the problem. While most everybody is looking the other way, citizens are being ripped off. Those who play cop-killer games and crazies such see the evil that's going on. They, in their crazy mind, think it's the righteous thing to retaliate against the retaliators. Then, good cops have a bad day for something someone else did. If you see any public servant or crony using tax money or public property to take anything from any other citizen against their wishes, or dream up ridiculous fines that have no victim, no person suffered loss, the government crony is just trying to take. You're witnessing a crime, even if a government employee or crony said it's okay. White-collar crime steals 5 times the amount of all other crime combined. If you recognize it, please call the FBI. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS or text your tips to 803-441-8744, where you remain anonymous and your cops unshot.
And now, this Crime Reports and Rewards special report.
What if I told you you don't have to dump ice on yourself to donate to charities? Save yourself a heart attack, swimmer's ear, a concussion, or the flu, and donate at AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where the life or serious injury you save may be your own. If you come up with a cool fundraising idea, we'll put your video on our TV show, Crime Reports and Rewards. So why donate to Crime Stoppers? We make our community safer, one call at a time. But we need your help. When a criminal case is not solved within a reasonable amount of time, the case goes cold. Evidence becomes unobtainable and the crime becomes increasingly harder to solve. For this reason, most police departments' files contain many unsolved crimes. When this occurs, a method is needed that will reawaken public interest and will also call upon citizens for help in providing the needed information. Quite often, citizens witness all or part of a crime without being aware of what they've seen. Consequently, they unknowingly possess key information that could aid police in solving the crime. In order for the police to receive this vital information, the citizens must be made aware of the importance of the information they possess. The incident must be recalled to their attention, and what information is needed explained by the police to solve the crime. All too often, citizens don't contact the police with information that could help solve a crime. It may be due to fear. They believe if they reveal their own identity, then they would expose themselves or their families to acts of retaliation by the criminals. In most of these instances, these citizens will not come forward with information. In order to share information with police, they must be assured they will be provided complete anonymity. If the police fail to provide this anonymity, the result is usually the loss of vital information due to the lack of willingness to cooperate. In other instances, citizens may not come forward with information because they lack the knowledge of how or whom to contact in the police organization. Once these citizens work up the courage to contact the police, they must be assured that whomever they talk to will be interested in and respond to whatever information they relay. Otherwise, these citizens may call in once with information, but certainly will not call a second time if they're shuffled and transferred from one person or department to another. The Crime Stoppers concept provides a method of overcoming these limitations and involving citizens in the solution of crime. Through the Crime Stoppers program, citizens who have knowledge of a specific crime are encouraged either for civic or monetary reasons to come forward. Through this program, the public is reminded that the police need their assistance to make the community a safer place to live. Crime Stoppers allows any citizen coming forward with information to remain completely anonymous. In this way, the citizen is assured that his identity will be protected and that any useful information relayed will be utilized. To make sure the public knows who's wanted or what crime to watch out for, go to Facebook and search for AugustaCrimeStoppers.org. Also, we can't fight crime without your help. Call your favorite radio, TV, or print management during working hours and ask they share Crime Stoppers 800-222-TIPS line. Then take the money you are going to spend on ice and hospital bills and donate that to stopping crime. Just say yes, we'll do the rest. Thank you for supporting Augusta Crime Stoppers.
You've been watching Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous. The criminals don't. If you have any information on these or any other crimes, call our national tip line at 1-800-222-TIPS. Well, you'll stay anonymous and could get a cash reward. You can see this or any other episode of Crime Reports and Rewards on the web anytime at crimereportsandrewards.com. Crime Reports and Rewards is a production of Michaels Media.